There was a time when I found it really hard to share my feelings with Laurie. I think as men, we oftentimes think that we can't be vulnerable with our spouses, that we need to hold everything in and show a really strong outer armor that we're confident people. Have you ever done that?
I know for myself, I'm the complete opposite, right? I always call it vulnerability hangover because I will share everything with you, wanting to build that connection. And I don't know about you, if that's what is that women that we tend to do that and that we feel more connected when we feel that vulnerability. And so when we don't have it, then we feel that disconnect.
Exactly. I find it so interesting when we oftentimes think of roles between men and women in this case. And I'm going, man, Laurie just like felt so comfortable just sharing everything. And why don't I feel the same way? Now, I have feelings. I know I have them.
Really?
Yeah, I do, actually.
There are times.
But I would tend to hold them down. And I think perhaps from my upbringing in my family, more of a patriarchal family, the man is the provider in a family. We can't show this emotion. We need to be strong. And yet, in the moments when I have been vulnerable and shared feelings, it took what I thought was a really good relationship that we already had to a great relationship, and a relationship that was so much more richer when I started to feel comfortable sharing my feelings. Now, don't get me wrong, I still have challenges with it, and I'm not like, hey, I'm going to tell you all about my feelings kind of day. I need a bit of space for it, but I'm certainly improving on it and becoming more open to the idea of being vulnerable with Laurie and sharing my feelings, because I know that it leads to a much better connection with us and a much more enriched and closer relationship for us. So, yeah.
Well, and I love what Brene Brown says about vulnerability takes courage. And when you think of it from the masculinity part, you're the one leading, being courageous. So it's just this really interesting disconnect, I think, that we have been sold all of our life, that men need to be a certain way and vulnerability isn't something that I could ever do. And since you've been more open that way, man, you talk about our relationship being good, it's gone to great because now we can really share everything. And then we start thinking and dreaming about our future, and you're being vulnerable of saying, like, this is what I'm really hoping for. I'm like, okay, I'm in. So we leave you with that today, that just notice if you find you're like Jim and are shutting down and thinking, I can't and don't want to be vulnerable. Ask yourself, is that getting you the relationship that you want with your partner? And if not, then get curious about it and go, I wonder what I would need to be doing in order to lean in to being vulnerable with my partner.
Yeah, I like I said, I thought our relationship was good. And once I opened up that door and started sharing my feelings more, our relationship became greater and there was a much better connection for it. But it didn't happen right away. And when we were talking about this subject, and I was thinking about how did I go about doing that? Like, what did we do for each other? And I think a really key thing for me was that I needed to discover a little bit more about my feelings and being able to communicate them. Not necessarily all of them and blurting out, but I needed to be open to that idea that I wanted to say that. And I think what I needed from you was an openness that would be able to say thank you, and being like let's share more. And I'm not going to go from 0 to 60 like what you might do, but at the same time, can we provide a space where we can actually be able to talk about it? And I know that you are open to that and responding to that, and are not going to turn it on me when I do that, right?
Yeah. And I think, ladies, if this sounds familiar for you, I think the key was I didn't put that pressure on you. I did the work myself to become comfortable with who I am and how I show up. And I just really trusted that would inspire you to kind of lean in and go, oh, okay, I think I could do something like that. And then as he started to become more vulnerable and open in conversations, as you mentioned, I was like, this is amazing, right? And really celebrated the win in us communicating and connecting further at a more vulnerable level.
Yeah, so we encourage you, if this is something that you're feeling within your relationship, if there's something where you're wanting to go deeper and you're not sure about it, take that step, take that leap, trust in your relationship, and open up and start to talk about it in little steps. And it will lead to bigger steps, and it will lead to just a great and fantastic relationship with your spouse. Yeah.
So good. That's all we got for today. Have a fabulous one.
Until next time, see you later.